Hello everyone. Welcome back to Movie Recapped Girl. Today we'll be looking at a renowned film called The Time Machine. The movie begins in 1899, with Dr. Alexander Hartdegen being an associate professor of applied mechanics and engineering at Columbia University. At the beginning of the movie, David Philby has to remind his friend of his date with his girlfriend Emma at 5 o'clock, as the friend is so focused on the formula he is working on. Upon hearing this, Alexander hastily grabbed his papers and hurried home to prepare. On the way, he and David discussed all of the proposals that the university had declined from Alexander. David proposes that his ideas be less extreme so that they can be beneficial to people. Upon arriving at Alex's residence, they are welcomed by his housekeeper, Mrs. Watchett. Alex is dressed in fancy new clothes and goes to meet Emma. As they stroll through the Central Park, Alex brings up his declining health and tells her that he will only be cured if she agrees to marry him. Emma, her eyes filled with tears, said yes to his proposal. After rummaging through his pockets, he presented her with a ring that had her birthstone set in it. Emma was ecstatic, but then a man suddenly came up to them and started to circle around. He demanded their money, and when Alex attempted to fight back, the mugger pulled out a gun and pointed it at him. Alex reluctantly hands over his wallet and watch when asked, but when he requests Emma's ring, the man refuses. In an attempt to take it from her, a struggle ensues and the man ends up shooting her dead. Alex cradles her in his arms, calling her name, as she breathes her last and passes away. He is utterly broken as he embraces her lifeless body and weeps in despair. 4 years after Emma's death, Alex is still struggling to cope. He has been pouring himself into his work, writing equations on the board as he researches. He has yet to find a way to accept her passing. When David arrives to meet Mrs. Watchett and her husband, they are both concerned for him. Upon his arrival, David notices something on the other side of the curtains and Mrs. Watchett requests that he explain what he is doing. After a week has passed, David's invitation for dinner arrives and Alex is filled with anxiety for the first time since Emma's passing. Alex then draws the curtains back, revealing a massive piece of machinery with numerous wheels and gears. In the center, a chair is embedded, and Alex takes a seat and gazes at Emma's picture on a locket. Alex slowly lowers a lever, causing a sphere-shaped shield to form around him. The machine then begins to move. When Alex lowers the last lever, the camera zooms in on a pocket watch, showing its hands rotating counterclockwise. Alex has devoted his energy and effort into constructing a time machine in order to travel back to 4 years ago, when Emma passed away, and attempt to save her. In the following scene, we observe Alex in Central Park on the day of Emma's passing. She spots him and sprints in his direction. Alex is amazed to find his beloved love returned. He passionately kisses her and joyfully escorts her to the closest carriage to take her away from the park. They disembark from the carriage in the center of the city. Alex instructs Emma to return to her residence and remain there for the evening. He anticipates that he will be visiting her home later that night, and cautions her not to be perplexed, but to recall that he loves her. Alex realizes that no matter what he does, he cannot alter Emma's destiny and she is destined to be killed by a vehicle when he leaves her by the side of the road to get her flowers as he had promised. He refuses to accept that she will perish that evening, believing that the people of the future must have discovered a way to alter this outcome. Consequently, he resolves to travel to the future and investigate time machines of the future. He enters the time machine and adjusts the lever to 2030. As he travels through time, he notices the transformation of the world around him. In 2030, he comes across an ad for a lunar colony. He visits the New York Library in search of a book on time travel and is amazed to find a holographic librarian named V114. V114 states that no invention of time travel has been made when he speaks of it. He hoped that his fortunes would improve in a few years, so he got back into the time machine and traveled to 2037. To his dismay, he found that the world had been completely destroyed by 2037. The lunar habitation program has caused the Earth and Moon to become more closely linked, with the Moon being drawn nearer to the Earth. This has resulted in the gravitational forces between the two bodies being altered, leading to frequent earthquakes and tsunamis on Earth. A huge fissure on the Moon's surface has been caused by the lunar habitation. 2 officers, evacuating people from Earth, apprehended Alex and took him to his designated evacuation center. As he attempts to fight off his attackers, the ground begins to tremble and split apart, spewing out hot lava. Alex quickly jumps into his vehicle and attempts to flee, but in the midst of the chaos, he strikes his head on a piece of metal, causing him to lose consciousness. Alex awakens to find himself in the distant future of 802,701, and quickly halts the time machine before passing out again. He awoke in a bed with his injuries healed. As he put on his clothes, a small child came up to him before quickly running away. Alex, the child, notices that the people of the future have regressed to a primitive way of life and inhabit the cliffs. Everyone gathers around Alex, gazing at him in amazement, yet they appear to be unable to comprehend English, apart from a girl named Mara who is able to converse fluently. Mara informs the others that Alex is merely a wandering fool, instead of revealing that he is a time traveler, so as to prevent them from killing him. The lower the ones making the loud honking noises that are causing distress, so everyone goes into their respective shelters. Later that evening, he stays at Mara and her brother Kill's residence. He observes the shattered fragments of the moon in the heavens. The next day, Mara escorts Alex to his time machine, relieved to find that it has not been harmed. Mara urgently insists that Alex take Callie with him to the past, before he can even ask why. Suddenly, loud honking is heard in the background, causing Mara to panic and rush off to protect Callie, leaving a bewildered Alex behind. Everyone around them begins to hurry back to the cliffs, and Alex finds himself confronting a monstrous life form. These creatures are known as Morlocks. More of the creatures come out of the ground and begin attacking everyone. They grab the people they can and drag them down into the earth. Alex watches in horror as one of them grabs Mari and disappears beneath the surface. Once all the Eloise have been taken away, Alex inquires of the others as to where the additional locks lead, but Kill informs him that it is not allowed to discuss it once the Eloise have been removed. Kill then leads Alex to the entrance of the Morlocks' realm. As they descend into a cavern, Alex realizes that it is the New York Library. From behind them, the hologram of V-144 speaks. Alex is astonished to find out that the technology he has been using runs on solar power, and that it has enabled him to survive all these years. He inquires about the current state of the world. V-114 states that the human race has split into 2 distinct groups, the Eloise and the Morlocks. This is the current state of the world, with the Morlocks coming to the surface to hunt for sustenance. V informs them that to access the realm of Morlocks, they must follow the sound of breathing. Kai and Alex hear the sound and follow it to a huge statue of a demonic face, with its mouth serving as an entrance to the Morlock world. He exits the surface and cautiously descends into the depths. After arriving at his destination, he discovers an entire society. Alex then sneaks into a room and accidentally tumbles into a pond filled with human remains. He is then discovered by a Morlock and brought to their leader's chamber. The leader explains that when the area was populated, some people had no other option but to sink beneath the ground. Throughout the years, the creatures developed a taste for flesh and began to consume Morlocks. Some of them were able to survive on the surface and reproduce, forming the Eloise population. The Morlocks attempted to return to the surface, yet were unable due to the extended period of evolution beneath the ground. Consequently, they began to hunt the humans from the upper world for sustenance and reproduction. The leader discloses his ability to manipulate the minds of both Eloise and Morlocks, and to maintain the equilibrium of the world through them. He has also perused Alex's thoughts, and is aware that he is a time traveler and his wish is to bring Emma back. He is filled with sadness to think of what his life would be like if Emma hadn't passed away, imagining her and their child playing together. The leader then explains that humans are unable to alter destiny as they are the consequences of their own deeds. He then reveals to Alex the time machine he had brought into the Morlock world. The leader commanded Alex to return to his original place of origin without disrupting the equilibrium of the community. Alex silently complied, but as he activated the machine, he dragged the leader along with him. Alex and the leader engage in a battle, with Alex eventually emerging victorious. He holds the leader outside the machine sphere and activates it, causing the leader to rapidly age and die. Alex then travels to the future and finds the area filled with Morlock's cave, indicating that the place is now under their control. Alex returns to rescue Mara and takes her out of the cage, causing the Morlocks to become enraged and lunge at them. Alex, however, jams a gear into the machine, thwarting their attack. Alex barely escaped as the time machine caused a huge disruption in time, destroying Morlock's world. Having lost his time machine, Alex opts to remain with Eloise, having found contentment there. Later, we witness Fox 144 instructing Eloise's children about humanity's history. Alex takes Mara and Kale to the spot where his laboratory used to be. While he is conversing with them, in a different era, David and Mrs. Watchett enter Alex's lab and talk about his vanishing. David asserts that Alex is content no matter where he is and proposes to Mrs. Watchett that she come and work as his housekeeper. Thank you for watching the video. Please do not forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. I'll be back soon with another incredible story.